What's up, everybody? Axewizard here, back with another update about my Linux, I guess you could say, transition. So I still haven't gone back to Windows, but it's not all rosy over here, which, to be honest, I'm surprised I got this far before I ran into some problems. So let's talk about what problems I ran into and what I was able to do to get around them. So first of all, thank you all for the comments. This last video I made blew up. I just kind of made it because I wanted to talk about it, and it was kind of cool. And so I've gotten lots of good comments, and people, you know, give me good advice, and some people debating back and forth in the comments about which distribution they prefer and how Mint might not be the best choice. But you know what? I appreciate it all. It's fun. So there was a comment that was made a few days ago, and at first I thought it was kind of rude, but then I realized I think they're just trying to be informative. And so they said, nfocus cert has detected details and a proof of concept tool for a Linux kernel privilege escalation vulnerability, CVE 2024-1086, has been publicly disclosed recently. Tell us about your experience with Mint. Like, there's comma, but I think it was supposed to be ... So let's take a look at this vulnerability and see if we are affected, which we are. So let's take a look at, boom. So if we look down farther here, this is affecting Linux kernels from 3.15 to 6.1.76, and then from 6.2 to 6.6 and 6.7 to 6.7.3. So quite a lot of kernels affected. Now, what kernel do I have? If I go into my settings here and I just go to system info, I'm running 5.15 generic. So I would assume that that falls in between this this here. So it looks like we do have a vulnerability that's currently active here. So what does this vulnerability do? Let's see, modified. This vulnerability has been modified since it was last analyzed by the NVD. It's awaiting reanalysis, which may result in further changes to the information provided. Okay. Description. A use after free vulnerability in the Linux kernel's netlifier nf_tables component can be exploited to achieve local privilege escalation. The NFT verdict init function, ooh, NFT, that's gross, allows positive values as drop error within the hook verdict. And hence the nf hook slow function can cause a double free vulnerability when nf drop is issued with a drop error which resembles nf accept. We recommend upgrading past commit so-and-so. It gives you a commit ID. I assume it's for the Linux kernel. We got that. So if I open this in a new tab, where does this take me? Oh, cool. Shows you the commit where they're actually fixing it. So yeah, anyway, that's a bit alarming. I'm not sure what to do about it right now. I could manually upgrade my kernel, but I'm not sure if that would break everything. In fact, I did break everything earlier when I was trying to get audio working, which was the last thing I had to check on my list, right? Can I get audio working, you know, so I can record some sweet guitar tunes and stuff. And I'm still working on that. There we go, put that back. So I'm not sure what to do about that. I'm going to dig into that more later, but that is kind of alarming. But also part of me is just like numb to it, because being on Windows, it feels like there's a new vulnerability every month. They're constantly patching it, which is, you know, can be a blessing and a curse. This last month we were scrambling because a lot of we typically buy at my job, we typically buy computers in bulk. So there was a problem with the latest update that rolled out that affected like a bunch of our computers. And we had to roll back that update. That was fun. That was a fun update too. Like, if for some reason it made like the screen constantly re-render, and you had to do things in between like these screen flashes, and depending on what you were trying to do, when the screen would flash again, it would like reset your desktop. So you had to we had to go in there quick and pop open like an admin command prompt and be able to paste in this command to uninstall the update. Yeah, it was fun. So, yeah, I don't know. It seems like, you know, with technology, you're never going to get away from that stuff. I'm not sure what to do about that vulnerability right now. Love to hear your all thoughts. Everyone has been in the comments just kind of going at it, excited about Linux, so I'm sure many of you are probably aware of it, and if you're not, then, I don't know, maybe this might be a heads up for you. There's also a vulnerability with XZ, and I think if I do, what was it, XZ -- version, my XZ utils is not in the vulnerable range that comes with it. We're a few versions behind, so that's cool. So there's I know Mudahar did a video on that. There's a few other people that were doing videos on it that was popping up in my feed. So I've dodged that bullet at least. So cool. Anyway, so let's talk about my journey trying to get audio stuff to work. So my interface that I have is an Audient Sono interface, and I've gotten it to work, kind of. So I don't know if I still have it installed. Like I do, yeah. But so what I was able to kind of cobble together from reading forum posts and stuff like that is initially I was trying to get Ardor to work, which I uninstalled. So let me go into the the package manager, software manager. So if I look in here for Ardor, which is what I was trying to go with, I've got like a few different versions, right? So I was trying this one. This one's got 5 stars. Okay, cool. Well, it's got 1 review. So if we look at the review, this is a FlatHub version, does not work with QJack. Okay. So I didn't find that out till later. So I was trying to get it work with QJack control, and that was not working. So I should be able to use either Pulse Audio or ALSA, and I haven't got it to work with either of those. So okay, if I try just the system package one, this is an older one. This one, so the flat pack one, whenever you tried to select QJack, the whole thing would just freeze and you would have to just like force close it. With this one was able to recognize QJack, but my signal was not going into it. And I know that QJack was working somewhat because I was able to use this program, Guitarix. Pretty sure it is. I've got it installed, but it's not showing here. Is this like a different? Oh, here it is. Yeah, Guitarix. So I've got this one installed, and I was able to get the sound going from QJack into this, and it was able to play back audio, and you know, there's a bunch of different effects and stuff in there to play with. So I was able to kind of play around with that, but I couldn't get it to recognize that to go into a DAW. I was like, okay, well, maybe Ardor, I might play around with Ardor later. Let's try Reaper, because Reaper was supposed to be really good, right? So I was like, oh, hey, they have Reaper on here. Awesome. Well, it's Flatpak. Okay. So when I tried to install Reaper on this Flatpak, it doesn't have any reviews or anything. When you're trying to install it from here, the damn thing won't even open. It just brings up like the cool Reaper logo, and then it just goes away. Doesn't do anything. Okay. So I tried installing Reaper manually and playing around with that for a bit, and I felt like I was kind of backsliding. So I started doing some research on it, and then I found this channel called Linux Audio Tips, and this guy was actually pretty cool. So he was recommending Bitwig, but he also provided Reaper, like a means to install Reaper, and also the VST plugins and stuff like that. So he actually has a GitHub repo, and I was looking through his stuff, and he has this bash script to be able to install all the things you need and to get everything configured. So I was like, okay, cool. So I was looking through it. You know, he's got the wget command that just pulls it from his GitHub, basically. And then from there, we're using the change mode command to set permissions on the file that we download, the actual bash script. and then we're running the bash script. So what the bash script does, set exit if any commands. He has this cool notify command, so it pops up stuff in the terminal for us. So updating our system, doing sudo apt update and sudo apt dist upgrade with a -y to, you know, give confirmation on any prompts like, do you want to install this stuff, you know? And then it says install the latest low latency kernel. This is not the latest. I should have found the latest and modified this script to work with it. Keep in mind that this was for Linux Mint 21. I think we're on, what version am I even on? I should know that, right? Let's see. Let's go back to system info. Oh, we are 21. 21.3. Okay. So this kernel actually went, I think it was, this is not the latest low latency kernel that I was able to find, I guess. I don't know if it was the right one. So we're installing this and we're removing the generic one. So we're doing the low latency kernel, which I guess is really good for audio stuff, so that you don't have any delay or latency when you're doing a lot of, you know, a lot of audio stuff that has a bunch of effects and processing power and stuff. From my understanding, the low latency kernel is better at handling that. So when I tried this kernel, a lot of things broke. So for example, my built-in Wi-Fi adapter stopped working. I had to plug in a USB, like crappy little Wi-Fi adapter I had, and I was able to get Wi-Fi with that and do some Google foo to find out what I did wrong, and turns out this might not be the best idea anymore. But then we also installed KX Studio and Cadence. Cadence is a tool for managing audio connections to our hardware. Select yes when asked to enable real-time privileges. So it installs that. Again, it does that via some apt-get commands, because apt is the package manager for Mint and I guess Debian, or maybe it's just Ubuntu. I don't know. It's been a while. I'm slowly re-immersing myself into this Linux mess here. And then it's installing CPU frequency utilities. So this allows your CPU to run at maximum performance. On a laptop, this will drain the battery faster. I'm not on a laptop, so no worries there. So anyway, I tried doing all this stuff. It installed CPU frequency. It installs, it sets some grub options. It sets your syscontrol.conf. It also adds your user to the audio group, which I had already figured out and done, and previously trying to get stuff to work. And it also installs Reaper, which was nice. So it installs Reaper and sets the, does all that stuff. Also installs YA Bridge or YA Bridge, and from my understanding, this is a tool that allows you to use VSTs. For my limited understanding. And then Winetricks allows you to do a few wine things, I guess. Windows layer emulation kind of stuff, from my limited knowledge. And then we're defining our custom VNC or our VST paths. There's a big deal about VST version 2 and VST version 3, so we're defining some actual paths there. And then basically finished. So I ran this, restarted my computer, my Wi-Fi didn't work, and then I was playing around and I wasn't able to get most of this stuff working. So thankfully I was smart, and before I did any of that, I used timesheet, and I ended up making a on-demand basically snapshot right here. And so I did this before I ran that script, because running scripts is usually a bad idea. But since I kind of had an idea of what the script was actually doing, I usually find myself writing bash scripts at work to just automate things. So I usually, like for example, I have a bash script that runs a Docker container that spins up like a database Docker container, and then also runs SQL files to provision the database and then connect to it, and then it starts my application that I'm programming in just one script. That way I don't have to have like a local database installed. I can just spin it up on a Docker container and be good to go. So yeah, I carried that over from my old job. I didn't write that originally. Somebody else wrote that. I was like, that's some pretty cool shit. So I stole it and I modified it to make it more generic and cut out all the other, you know, work specific stuff from it. And yeah, so I can kind of understand and follow what this bash script is doing. To be fair, it's doing a lot of just comment, and it didn't seem it didn't seem like it didn't seem like it would do any harm other than installing like a different kernel, which I figured might break things. So I ran it, and then stuff broke. So I went into time shift, which I just stupidly closed like an idiot. So I just restored this snapshot again. Took like 2 minutes. Everything was back to normal, and we're good to go. Okay, cool. So another cool thing is that I ordered, since I installed this on a spare drive, that was like this little cheap, crappy Crucial drive. Well, I guess Crucial's a good brand, but this is just a little 240 gig. I installed it on here. And I decided, you know what, I like Linux, I'm going to stick with it. I haven't had to go back to Windows so far yet, so I want some more hard drive space to play with. So my main drive on here was only 500 gigs, so I ordered a terabyte solid state, because SATA is like super cheap these days. I got it for like 60 bucks. That arrived today. So I slapped that in my computer, and basically used Clonezilla. I stuck Clonezilla on a USB, and just cloned this drive to my new drive. And then once I did that, all I had to do was I just went into the settings, into disks, and I just selected my disk, and then I was able to expand this partition to make it bigger. So now I have my glorious terabyte of space. So I've got like 700 some odd gigs of free space, and I get to play around and actually install some more games. So maybe I can install like Baldur's Gate 3 and try to get that working on here, or maybe Divinity Original Sin 2, a few other games. So I've been playing I've been playing a lot of random games lately. I also found some games that like work well on Linux that were just made for Linux. So for example, I found like this free and open source game called Zonatic, which is pretty cool. Let's see if it'll actually show up. Let me see. Let me make sure I'm still capturing it. It looks like I'm capturing it. Sweet. So I'll just jump into this like campaign thing here, right? You can play against other people. So I was playing this with my son, because we were playing like Counter-Strike Condition Zero. We love playing that game. So I was just jumping in here playing around, and it's like a really fast-paced, you know, shooter game. And it's free and it's open source, so that's kind of cool. Let's see, where's some baddies? 3, 2, 1. Oh, this is that ice level one, right? Get wrecked. Yeah. Oh, I suck. Yeah. Come on. Where are you at? Where are you at, suckers? There you go. Come on. I suck at shooting. Yeah, take it. There you go. Got one. Got another guy. We won. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so I've been playing this little game. It's kind of fun, right? So I got that going. And yeah, so I've been having a blast with that. I'm still not sure what to do about my audio situation. So I might just I think I've mostly undone everything. I mean, I still have like you know, QJack installed and stuff like that, but so yeah, I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to approach that, but I think Reaper might be my best bet. I'm just doing some research on it. If I can get Ardor to work, I mean, that'd be fine too. Ardor wasn't that intuitive for me, which doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's going to have a steeper learning curve, which is fine. So yeah, I'm playing around with stuff, and yeah. Anyway, I just want to make a quick video on how Linux is going for me to discuss that vulnerability, also the XZ vulnerability, and then just my experience kind of getting things to work, and then my struggle is trying to get the audio stuff to work. So yeah, let me know your advice. I would love to hear what your comments are, what your thoughts are, because so far I'm still enjoying Linux. I'm having a great time on it, and I haven't logged into Windows since I installed it. So super. And anyway, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in whatever video I make next.